All right, Ledesma students, here comes your newest assignment. And this is one of the most practical applications of math that you can see in your everyday life. So, this particular assignment is to take a real recipe and a recipe that has at least three fractional ingredients in it. And I would like you to try and make sure or see if you can either double this recipe or cut it in half. Right? So the first thing you're going to need to do is find a recipe. And I've done a sample kid blog post here. Yes, Teacher Pete does have a grandma, and grandma's whole grain waffle recipe is right here. So what I want you to realize is that the first thing I did for this assignment was copy down all of the ingredients in grandma's whole grain waffles. So you can see here's the ingredient list in grandma's whole grain waffles. And there are more than three, right? Here's one, here's two, here's three, here's four. And yeah, there's four fractional ingredients in this recipe. You need to have at least three for yours. Okay, so that's the first step for this particular assignment. Next, if you are a fourth grader, you're going to double the recipe and you're going to retype the recipe right below it and you're going to do it in blue so that I can tell the difference between the first recipe and your doubled recipe. Now, if you double it, you are going to, of course, multiply by the number 2, right? So you have to multiply it by 2 if you double a recipe. So you'll take a look for Grandma P's whole grain waffles, right? I did 1.5 and I did times 2, right? I did a half a cup times 2, right? I did 3 teaspoons times 2, right? And I multiplied every single thing by 2, right? One of the things I'd like you to notice is that when you or I'd like you to remember, is that when you do multiply by 2, a lot of times with a fraction, you're going to have to do it by 2 on top of 1, right? And that will help you multiply some of your fractions by turning the number 2 into a fraction like 2 over 1. Okay, so that's what I did with all of those. Please notice that when I type in a mixed number, 1.5, I put an and symbol between the 1 and the half, right? Otherwise, if I don't do that, it looks like 11 halves, which is 5.5, and that's a whole different number. So that's a trick to typing in a mixed number on a computer. Okay, so there you go. That is for fourth graders. Fifth graders, you're going to do the exact same thing, but you are going to cut the recipe in half and you're going to type your new recipe in red. So you're going to type the original recipe here in black and your new recipe here in red. And when you type in red, fifth graders, you are going to multiply by 1/2 because multiplying something by 1/2 is the same as dividing it by 2, right? So what you will do again is you will oftentimes change your improper or your mixed numbers into improper fractions and then multiply it by 1 over 2 in the same way that the fourth graders had to do the same thing, right? They had to change 1.5. You would change it into 3 halves and you would multiply it by 1/2. And if that's the case, you get 3/4 of a cup for grandma's whole grain waffles. So that's how this works. When you do this assignment, don't forget a few key things. I want to know, what unit of measurement are you using? Right there. Are you using cups, pints, quarts, teaspoons? Those are all very different things, and you need to include the correct unit of measurement. Teaspoon, by the way, is abbreviated TSP, right? Tablespoon, which is 3 times as much as a teaspoon, is abbreviated TBSP. So you can either abbreviate it correctly or you can spell the whole word out. Okay, make sure you include the unit of measurement. I would also like to see how much does a recipe make. So the original recipe made 8 waffles. When I doubled it, it made 16. And when I cut it in half, it now makes about 4 waffles. Okay. Um, Additionally, if you have any cooking directions, go ahead and include those as well. You only have to include that one time. You can simply cut and paste it, right? So take a look at your recipes. Again, fourth graders, your assignment is to double the recipe by multiplying it by 2. or 2 over 1. Fifth graders, your assignment is to cut the recipe in half by dividing by 2, which is the same thing as multiplying it by 1/2. Now, if you are slick and you feel real slick, you could do both, right? If you want the extra challenge, go the extra mile. I'll be impressed. I hope you have fun with this. I would also like to encourage all of you to actually cook this recipe, actually make it in the oven or on the stovetop with your parents' supervision, but take a picture of it and show us you making it or the final product or something like that. I'd love to encourage you to do that for a little bonus extra credit on this assignment. With that, I hope you have a great day. Keep learning math and remember that math is everywhere. Have a great day.